Self Off the Mat Monday edition of Defo on 5. Jeff DeForest along with Mike Lubitz. And we are peeling ourselves off the mat after what I hope for many people was just a wonderful weekend. We had a lot of heat down here, and it was Father's Day. Had a terrific time. Did you get together, Lubie, with your old man yesterday? Yeah, who just celebrated a birthday. So you had double
Sir.
reason to be with this gentleman. And of course, you always speak very highly of your father, which I'm very proud of you for, because there aren't that many people that you speak very highly of. After being in this business for a while, you tend to sour on virtually everybody, even your closest friends somehow turn out to be, distant acquaintances after a while. But anyway, good morning. Good to be with you. Well, when I first moved to Florida, and I had played golf before, I don't know about you, Libby. What is your golf experience? Let's get into that a little bit here, because there are so many things swirling about with the conclusion yesterday of our national championship, the U.S. Open, won by a relative unknown, Wyndham Clark, who had just won his first tournament about a month ago. He won the Wells Fargo, which is relatively nondescript. Is that like the John Deere Tractor Open, or I don't know. I mean, where is the Wells Fargo played, and how many Wells Fargo Opens are there? But he won that. 29-year-old golfer. I guess he went to the University of Oregon. We didn't know too much about him, but he was the one unknown that was atop the leaderboard towards the end, as you had Rory McIlroy trying to get off to Schneid after a 9-year hiatus from being in the winner's circle in a major. Started out like he was going to maybe even threaten Big Jack and be in the same category as Tiger, and it's been 9 years. So what is that? Roughly 36 majors without a trip to the winner's circle for Rory McIlroy, knocking on the door the entire time. Very exciting stretch run there, and you would think, and this was kind of odd about the event, because the first day they absolutely brought the course to its knees, and you thought, what is this course? It does not befit the kind of challenge that the U.S. Golf Association is trying to present to see who really is capable of going ahead and of being the best in an impossible test of conditions. But it was like everybody shooting 10 under the first day, and that's kind of where it ended, because 10 under ended up being the winning score. And Wyndham Clark got off to a good start on the first day of the tournament. I believe he shot a 64 and then hung in there tooth and nail as the final three holes were a high degree of difficulty. Not quite the same as we're used to, where the fairways are extremely narrow, and then the rough is as atrocious and impossible to get out of. I mean, you get in there, you literally needed a machete to get out of the rough on most U.S. Opens, and you usually see a score of like even par, one under wins it, maybe even over par. But in this case, there were many, many golfers that were under par. I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about that? Would you like to see a very, very high, almost impossible degree of difficulty because of your own golf experience? You want to see these guys, the best in the world. They're so phenomenal at getting out of trouble. How they make pars out of some of these positions that they're in off the tee is beyond incredible, and a big separation from the average hacker, who only contends to, goes on to compound things after getting started. But I don't know. I mean, what was your experience with golf, Luby? Did you grow up playing golf at all, or you lived in Florida your whole life? See, I moved here and I became obsessed with the game, and then I realized, this is not something for the faint of heart when it comes to lacking form. It's hard to manufacture a game of golf and have any kind of oddball form. Most of the pros, you look at their swing analysis and you're like, it looks the same to me as everybody else. Not the case if you're going out there with a bunch of hackers. Almost everybody has some bizarre extrapolation of Charles Barkley's swing. But what did you feel about it? I mean, you don't play very often, but you do like to get out there, do you not?
Growing up, I grew up in a golf household. Like my grandfather played, my dad, my two uncles played. So I sort of rebelled against it. I thought it was for like old people and boring. As I got older out of school, I had a few friends that really were into golf, so I would play here and there. I love the driving range. I just it's the game of golf is a long time. Like to play in 18 holes, it's like 4 hours.
It's an investment in time, yes, and money.
It's a lot of money, and it's like dedicating a whole day, and I don't get a lot of just free time, so I don't play a lot these days. I do see the value, especially once you have children and you need to get the fuck away.
Yeah. I don't think I've played a round of golf in over 30 years. I was obsessed with it. I was like Michael Jordan. I wanted to play like 36 holes a day.
Crazy, yeah.
And I had a set of clubs that I had bought in a parking lot of Bonaventure Golf Club off a guy who sold me the clubs out of his trunk. And I thought it was a little odd that they came in a brown paper bag. Tiger Sharks. Those were the irons I
Oh
had.
my god.
And I just loved playing. And then eventually I realized that, geez, I suck at this. I had gotten to the point where I had manufactured enough of a game where I could go a stretch of 4 or 5 holes, and you might think that I had some ability at the game. And then everything would fall apart. Everything would break down, and it was shankopotamus from that point on, ricocheting off of trees in parts of the golf course that not even alligators would venture into, and just horrendous overall. So I finally just threw my clubs in a canal one day after having a particularly horrific round, and that was it. But I still enjoy watching them, and I am amazed at how these guys the trouble shots that they hit are literally beyond incredible. And they had to hit a lot of them, although not as many as usual at a U.S. Open. Do you feel for McIlroy? I mean, he seems like such a good guy. He went through all of this turmoil with the PGA Tour and getting sold out by Jay Monahan. Looked like a fool. They pair him up with Brooks Koepka the very first day, so he had to play 2 rounds with Koepka. They seemed to get along extremely well. I mean, they were very cordial towards each other. If you watched any of that action, Louis, that was kind of a good sidebar story for the U.S. Open. But yeah, any major championship in any sport usually brings about a certain level of drama, and this one was not short on it, as it did come down to the final couple of shots. McIlroy was hanging in there. It looked like Wyndham Clark was folding, and they managed to get it together on the last 2 holes, hit a couple of incredible shots, and ended up winning. So 29-year-old Wyndham Clark upsets the field in the U.S. Open. That L.A. Country Club, an odd choice, of course. They had a hole one day. I guess that they moved the tee back like 40 yards for the final round. But in the third round of the tournament, they had an 81-yard par three. Well, why not just have a miniature golf hole at that point? And it was a treacherous hole in some respects, an 81-yard par three. For a pro, though, and these guys, you watch them, speaking of the driving range, I mean, they never miss. So hard to imagine that was going to be an overwhelming challenge for a professional golfer. I mean, what a relief it would be to look at 81 yards. It wasn't like it was surrounded by water or anything. You could pretty much, hit the same shot. I don't even know what club does a pro
Like
use
a
for an
sand
81-yard
wedge?
hole.
Is that like a pitching wedge? Like
I
what do you
mean, these guys blasted. There's no correlation between what we would normally think of in terms of what club to take out for a certain distance with the pros as there is to anyone else's game. I don't know. If you were 150 yards from the green, Libby, what club are you taking out of the back?
like it's close to it.
You're taking driver out and
A
hitting it from the
hybrid.
fairway? No, I mean, it's not that bad, is it?
As close to a driver as possible.
150 and you're taking out driver. Nice.
I mean, you can't take out a driver. Like a hybrid that
Oh,
hits.
yeah. Wow. You're using some kind of wood from
Oh,
150.
I
See,
need
now
something.
I was able to hit those Tiger Sharks because I think they were weighted in an illegal fashion, illicit as the acquisition was. I do believe that the club also was loaded somehow. But I started out when I was first playing. I would hit like a 7-iron 150, and then I got to the point where I could hit an 8 150. Then it was a 9, and every now and then, towards the end of my illustrious golf career, I might even take out a pitching wedge from 140 150. But I don't even think they have a club in a bag. I mean, the sandwich, these guys are knocking it 150 yards, without even taking a full swing. So, and then they had they had 5 par threes, which I don't like at all. 5 par threes on the course. And I guess since it was a par 70, what would that be? Can we do the math? Did they only have a couple of par fives, 3 par fives, 5 par threes? Does that equate out to 70? I can't do it in my head that quickly. And a, the par threes were like 270, except for this 181-yard hole. I mean, at a 270, you would have no shot at that. You could take out a driver and still not hit at 270. A lot of golfers. So interesting all the way around. McIlroy comes up short. A couple of guys had big rounds. Scotty Scheffler, of course, usually in the mix. A couple of putts that he missed. He had some like 12, 15 footers. If he had canned a couple of those, he would have won the tournament. But congratulations to Wyndham Clark. Always nice to see a new guy break through, and that was kind of exciting. The Marlins, 10 games over 500, Lubie. I sent Tommy Hutton a text, our good friend Tommy Hutton, who does a color analysis on the Marlins games, most Marlins games that are played at home. The great Tommy Hutton, and still holds the distinction of never having been hit by a pitch, 1,500 at bats in Major League Baseball history. A veritable Gumby in there, but tremendous also, equally, with the agility with the words. And I sent him a text, said, "Wow, can you believe this? Holy Josh Booty, we're 9 games over 500. All of a sudden, it's my team now, the Marlins, who we were completely dismissing as being a absolute outright joke before the season started." And he shoots me back a text yesterday. I didn't see the score. Now 10 games over 500. Incredible. They swept the Nationals, which I don't know if that's any great distinguishable accomplishment. The Nationals had lost 11 of 13 now, and also are the worst team in the National League at 27 and 43. The Marlins are 6-0 against them. Is that not the mark of a team that's sort of coming around? You have to beat those teams, those low-wing scumbags at the bottom of the standings.
Yeah.
You have to be able to beat those teams on a consistent basis. The Marlins have struggled in that category, as a lot of mediocre and sub-mediocre teams do. But they are dominating now, 6-0 in the games heads up against the Nationals. They win it yesterday. They come home and start a homestand today, and they will take on a little bit more formidable opponent as the Toronto Blue Jays come to town. But pretty remarkable, huh? I never thought this was going to work. Did you? I had no confidence that this team was going to do anything except be well below 500 for the season, and we thought they'd be lucky to win 75, 80 games. That would have been incredible. That may still turn out to be the number, but right now, they are the top wildcard team, I believe, in the National League. Number one in the wildcard chase. Can they sustain this, Louie? What do you think? I mean, they're doing this with a subpar Sandy Alcantara. Not exactly a lineup that blows you away. Certainly not laced with power. They do have Jorge Soler hitting a lot of home runs, and among the Major League leaders in that category. Louis Rise hitting 388. He had gone through an 0 for 15 slump after hitting the 406 mark, and then came back with a 5 for 5 game. But since then, just leveled off a little bit. Didn't play in a game yesterday. I don't know if he was just getting a day of rest or was hurt, but nonetheless, hitting 388. That's been a pleasant surprise. Your man Luzardo was on the hill, 6 innings, pretty strong. He's got a 4.09 earned run average, but a 6-5 record, and 6 innings of 5-hit ball yesterday. So the Marlins may be a team to watch. Bradley Beal gets traded. The deal is a complete. The framework of it is, I don't know that it's absolutely been consummated, but Bradley Beal going to the Phoenix Suns, who now have a very interesting roster, where there are 5 guys that are at their core, put them over the luxury tax and the salary cap, and are into the luxury tax and over the salary cap. And what do they have past that? I don't know. You have Beal, you have Booker in the backcourt. That's pretty formidable. You have Eaton, still there, Ayton, and of course Kevin Durant. And what else? Not much, right? I mean, they're hurting. Do they have a 6th man on that team?
My problem is I don't understand that trade. It's like they literally are just trying to put people together that don't fit. Durant, Booker, and Beal are the same guy, just different heights. Like, neither's great defensively. Booker's gotten better. Durant at times in his career has been good defensively, but he's not that anymore. Booker, as we saw near the end of the playoffs, when you needed to count on him defensively, you couldn't. And Beal is worse than both of them. And none is a big. I mean, Booker has times where he's a good facilitator, but that's not his strong suit. Beal is not a facilitator.
They're all scorers.
Durant's not. I don't understand. Look, Paul was done fine to ship off Paul, but and they don't have any money. They're like super duper duper way over. Like I don't get that move at all. It does, to me. Their odds are better to win, but again, Vegas just reacts to big names being put together. As we've seen, that doesn't necessarily make you win. Like,
we've seen that many times.
Yeah, I don't get the move at all. I mean, they have enough scoring. They needed size. They needed defense. They needed effort. They needed the guys the Heat had on their run. They needed a bunch of role players that could help out. Scoring wasn't their issue. Scoring wasn't why they lost to the Nuggets. It's all the other guys the Nuggets had they couldn't match up with. Like I don't Durant and Booker did fine. Durant and Booker weren't their problem in that series. Like I don't. It's getting Ayton to wake up. This is not going to help Ayton. Who the hell's going to get Ayton the ball? Like this, I don't get this move at all for them. Like I just don't. It's not because he were the other team. I'm okay not getting Beal. I don't get the Suns wanting Beal. I don't understand that at all.
You would think this. I mean, and this is a tribute to the Heat, but doesn't it help to have good scouting and development?
Yes.
If you're going to put together an NBA roster, is that not more formidable of a factor in becoming a great team than just going out and acquiring star power? I mean, look what happened with the Brooklyn Nets, a disaster when they got all of those three guys with Harden and Durant and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving teams up with Luka Doncic and does nothing. The team was a disaster from that point on. You had the big three in Boston. They only won one title. You had LeBron, Bosh, and Dwayne Wade, a very formidable big three with some balance in behind it. And the first year they couldn't win it. They did end up winning a couple of championships, but it didn't hold together that long. I guess you may as well go all in to win one title now. Is that not the MO in sports? All in to win one title, and then you gloat about that for a while. And look what happens, right? Look at the Rams. They're a mess after going all in, and they kind of doubled down on that, and it got worse. So, and by the way, Lubie, I do have some information here of significance. The Chargers, 2.5-point favorites over the Dolphins on opening day. Chargers at home. What do you think?
I mean, it's at home. I mean, it makes sense. So it's like an even
sense, doesn't it? I'm not sure what the Dolphins are going to do this year. Everybody thinks they're going to be great. I don't know that I agree with that.
I really don't know.
I think we might be getting more of the same of what we got last year, which was a little bit of a tease and then a lot of disappointment thereafter. And yet a noble effort against, Buffalo? Was that first playoff
on their
game?
third string quarterback, and they almost won on the road in Buffalo in freaking January.
and I guess we'll never consider Bob Huggins, no matter how successful he was in terms of wins and losses as a college basketball coach, in the same category of class as, say, Miller Huggins. Because, that was a disgrace, right? A .210, triple the legal limit, and had no idea where he was when he's driving a car. Had to resign from West Virginia. He was already under suspension for the gay slur in a radio interview that came out of nowhere. Follows it up with this and realizes, time to throw in a towel. As it is for us, we'll have the Defo Show coming up. Appeal yourself off the mat Monday. Always a lot of fun. We thank you very much for getting us started here with our episode of Defo on 5 right here on what is the home of all Heat Talk. And congratulations to Scoop Skolnick and the crew. 10 million views.
Nice.
They accomplished. How long have they been in action here with 5 Reasons?
5 or 6 years. It's been a few years.
10 million views. That's a nice number, is it not?
It's impressive.
Very impressive. All right. Good job, Scoop Skolnick, and pleasure to be a part of it. For Mike Lubie, I'm Jeff DeForest, and that's kind of a rambling, I don't know that we accomplished anything there, but we did get it done. Edition of Defo on 5.